Okay, so I think we can start the session. Let me kick this off. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next session of Sitecore User Group Jaipur. And this time we have Amitabh Vyas with us to present with this topic. And let me tell you about something. Amitabh is working as a platform architect at Johnson Control and having more than 10 years of experience in Sitecore. He's also a four-time Sitecore Technology MVP. And I think I'm going to hand over the session to Amitabh, so he will just kick this off with this introduction and the presentation as well. So Amitabh, you can start the session.
Thanks, Amit. Thanks everyone for joining, and thanks Sitecore User Group Jaipur to giving me an opportunity to present. I just pasted a quick survey link in the chat. Whenever you get a chance, if you can answer the three questions mentioned there, which we would be using into the deck going forward. So click on that link and you will be redirected to a SurveyMonkey URL, and where you will find three questions to be answered. I hope you can guys see my screen. My talk today is about a journey from monolith to composable architecture, and this is with a flavor of Johnson Controls. But you would be find it very relevant to each and every client which you got chance to work on, or if you are currently working on, who are on Sitecore XP as of today, and the direction the Sitecore as a platform is moving, how that would be relevant for a person to plan their journey from monolith to a composable architecture. A quick introduction, those whom have already mentioned, but just at a quick glance. Myself, Amitabh Vyas. It's been 15 plus years in IT, 10 plus years in Sitecore. I'm a four-time Sitecore technology MVP, and currently working as a platform architect at Johnson Controls. The things which are not mentioned in this deck is I'm from Jodhpur, Rajasthan, and Jaipur is something close to my heart. I started my career in 2007 from Jaipur. Started working for VGL Softtech, which I believe now Q3, and also worked for A3 Logics for 3 years in Sitapura. So these are the social media channels where I'm available on. This is my LinkedIn profile if you want to have a quick connect. And I'm on Sitecore Slack and Sitecore Stack Exchange, and SitecoreCompetencies.com is a technical blog where I blog everything technical which I learn on my day-to-day work on Sitecore projects and so on and so forth. This is the survey which I was talking about. I have pasted the link in the chat, so answer the questions when you get a chance during this talk. This is how our agenda is going to be looking like today. We would be starting with a very brief introduction of what Johnson Control is, so that you can get a flavor of manufacturing technology company, how we are using Sitecore XP and so on and so forth. What are the challenges which we are facing, and how we are planning to move away from a monolith to the composable architecture. What is the difference between a monolith and composable architecture? I believe most of the people on the call are already aware of it, but just as a ritual, I have like a 1 or 2 slider on this. Then we would be talking about how to prepare a business case to convince your leadership that you are not a future focused, you are not on a future focused platform right now, and what are the benefits you'll be getting out of if you are trying to migrate from a monolith to a composable architecture. And then we would be talking about what is the right way to go composable. Then we'll talk in a depth about what are the current challenges which we are having, what are our mitigation plans now, and what were our mitigation plans before we came to know about the next-gen Sitecore composable DXP platforms and so on and so forth. And last but not the least, we would be talk a bit about the all-in-one and the next-gen DXP platforms provided by Sitecore as of today. So what is Johnson Controls? We are a global diversified technology and a multi-industrial leader, serving a wide range of customers for more than 150 countries with a 23 billion worth of revenue. We are in 150 countries, 2000 plus locations worldwide. We are almost 100K plus employees now, and we are having 25 billion worth of revenue as financial year 2022. We are into and when I use the term multi-industrial, we are into building automation and controls, HVAC equipments, industrial refrigerations, fire hazard. We are in water and mechanical, fire detection, security, and last but not the least, retail. If I make a statement today that 10% out of the world famous iconic buildings are being maintained or being automated by Johnson Controls, that would be a truth. So if we talk about the latest project from Johnson Control is the Museum of Future in Dubai, where we have recently completed a project to have the security and the HVAC system completely implemented into that specific building. Um, a brief history how the Sitecore journey in Johnson Controls started. In 2017, where two big giants into the HVAC industry came together, which is Johnson Control and Tyco. They were merged together, and as a result, we found ourselves in a kind of a scenario, something like this, where we ended up with hundreds and hundreds of websites with a huge variety of maturity and a different tech stack. We had WordPress, Expression Engine, SharePoint, homegrown CMSs, .NET websites, PHP website, you name a specific platform, and we had a whole lot of variety of websites came to our lab, and that was a challenge which we are having, because this type of complexity comes with a cost in dollars, but also with a cost of a bad customer experience, because each and every website had its own look and feel, completely segregated, completely siloed, and we were missing a centralized branding experiences. For 4 long years, we were running four different Sitecore instances, completely siloed with a shared code base. And along with that, we had, like I mentioned, hundreds and hundreds of non-Sitecore websites as well, which we were marketing from a global marketing IT perspective. Then finally, in 2019, we started building a strategic, centralized, globally shared, and a multi-scale architecture, putting Sitecore SXA at it, putting the Sitecore SXA at the heart. And then we started migrating the non-SXA sites first to the Sitecore SXA platform, and also started migrating the non-Sitecore website to the Sitecore SXA platform, and so on and so forth. This is how our architecture from a bird eye view looks like. This is nothing different than any of the architecture you will find in the market. We are on Azure PaaS right now. We are on a Sitecore 9 plus version, and we are using Sitecore SXA. We are having our own DAM. We are having our own PIM. We have marketing automation. We have lots of third-party integrations. Then we have a tag management platform which we are using, and we are using Covio and Church. And like any other architecture in the market, we are having a WAP and the CDN in front of our Sitecore ecosystems, and so on and so forth. As I mentioned that we started migrating the website to this Sitecore SXA platform in 2019. So far, we have migrated 45 websites, which is multi-site and the multilingual, and we are continuously migrating. Based on our recent website industry, we are targeting around 350 plus websites to be hosted into this Sitecore SXA platform. So what is a monolith and what is a composable? In variety of talks, variety of presentations so far from the Sitecore community members, you may have seen diagrams like this and so on and so forth. But the one which is my favorite so far, which I have found from the Sitecore community, is this one, which was presented by Bruce, who is a Sitecore MVP from New Zealand. He used this slide into one of his talk into Sitecore Symposium last year at Chicago. So if you look at the image at the end, I'm sure that face is very familiar to all of you on the call. So if we talk about a system which is like overburdened, sometime insufficient, and maybe equipped with a lots and lots of feature which we don't even need, and we do not have any option to plug in or plug off those specific feature which either we or our specific client is not looking for for that for that specific feature, that is basically known as a monolith architecture. Whereas on the other hand, you can choose the best breed of equipment of your choice from the market, the best breed of musicians of your choice, and you can create your own specific orchestra. And that is the beauty of composable, which we will be talking into the upcoming slides. So the question comes this, we have heard a lot about composable and monolith and pros and cons and so on and so forth. But when it comes to when the rubber hits the road, that comes the question that how we will prepare a business case to explain the leadership of a specific client or our own organization. What are the pros and cons of moving from a monolith to a composable architecture? If we talk about a Sitecore XP0 monolith architecture, and if we do a vanilla installation of Sitecore XP0, it comes with Sitecore Experience Manager and Sitecore Experience Platform, which comes with a certain set of databases. If you are on Azure, it comes with a certain set of web apps and index workers and so on and so forth. And if we talk about those specific roles and databases individually, it comes with content operations. It comes with lead generation. It comes with analytics and personalization. It it comes with all those um, web apps which belongs to Cortex, which is the machine learning and AI. It comes with marketing automation, and last but not the least, it comes with A/B testing and A/B and multivariate testing and so on and so forth. Which means if we install a vanilla Sitecore XP0 monolith architecture, even on an on-premise or an Azure platform, Azure PaaS or Azure IS, whichever hosting platform which we are using right now, we are installing 54 resources altogether with a vanilla Sitecore installation. I'm still not talking about any custom databases, custom web apps, or the custom components or the custom Azure resources which you would be creating for your specific business needs. And if we talk about any client or any customer who is following a proper SDLC processes, they would be having at least 4 environment in their ecosystem: dev, staging, QA, and production. And most of the cases you would be having a specific disaster recovery environment as well. Which means across these 4 different environments, we are having 216 resources which we are hosting and maintaining. But the real question is, do we really use all the Sitecore XP features from end to end? If you have worked on any of the previous client who is using Sitecore XP, if you are using any existing client who was on Sitecore XP, are we really using all of the databases, all of the web apps, all of the features which is provided by Sitecore XP? And that is the place. It's time to have a look at the quick survey. Let me go and refresh the page. Okay, I've seen 6 submissions so far. So if we look at the question number 1, which is, are you currently on Sitecore XP? The all of the 6 answers are yes. If you look at this graph, which is very interesting, I see 2 of the responses are using Sitecore XP only for the content management. There's one who is using the Sitecore XP for a few more features on top of the content management, and there are three responses where we are using the Sitecore XP end to end. And I believe when we say end to end, we are also talking about features like Cortex and so on and so forth. And the last question was, what was the maximum number of Sitecore instances we have used? How what is the maximum number of website which we have hosted? And I see most of the people have used less than 50 website, and there are one answer which is 100 plus. So if I look at this graph, what does that mean? Which means that out of the, like, if a specific client, and if I take an example of Johnson Controls, if clients like us who is using Sitecore purely for the content operations and lead generation, we are not using Sitecore analytics for the analytics purposes. We are having our own uh, uh, our own implementation of Google Analytics and so on and so forth. Do we refer the XDB reports for few of the reporting purposes, but mainly when it comes to a real analytics platform, GA is our platform which we are using. So apart from the content operations and the lead generation, we are not using any of the XP features, which means out of these 216 resources, if we are just using the content operation and lead generations, we are using just 60 resources out of these four different platforms end to end, and we are still not talking about our specific disaster recovery environment which we have, which means out of those 216 resources, there are 156 resources which we are maintaining, which we are paying for the maintenance cost, which are paying for the hosting cost and so on and so forth. And also when it comes to the production environment, there are a lot of transactional costs involved in that. And like if you talk about XDB, all those expensive shard database operations which are taking place on your production, if you're not using Sitecore XB or if you're not using Sitecore Analytics, I believe you are simply wasting those dollars, and you should plan to move away from a composite from a monolith to a composable platform, which we will talking into the upcoming slides. So let's talk about the cost saving. Based on our analysis so far, if we are moving away from a monolith to composable architecture, the very first step which we are planning to do is scaling down from Sitecore XP to Sitecore XM. I'm talking I'm talking about Sitecore XM. I'm not talking about Sitecore XM Cloud so far. So the first step which we would be taking in this is scaling down all our environments from a Sitecore XP to Sitecore XM. If we are doing that just from a Azure hosting uh, point of view, we would be saving at least 30 to 40% of the cost of our Azure hosting. Like um, if we are scaling down from XP to XM, we would be shutting down all those databases which belongs to XP, like the specific database which belongs to XDB, the specific web app which belongs to XDB, Cortex, marketing automations, and so on and so forth. Uh, because if we talk about a production instance, if the analytics is enabled, your customer interactions are being tracked on a daily basis, which is a expensive transactional cost. And especially if you're talking about a disaster recovery in a multi-region scenario, where you need to have the SQL geo database replication into two different Azure data centers and so on and so forth, that is a lot of cost. Especially also if you want to re- uh, also if you want to replicate the expensive databases like shard 1, shard 0, and so on and so forth. On the other hand, if we talk about the Sitecore licensing, if a client is moving from a perpetual to a subscription-based model, and also a client who is planning to scaling down to from XP to XM, there are possibilities of cost saving onto the Sitecore licensing as well. Because the way I look at it, if a client is scaling down from XP to XM, they would be using powerful features like XDB, XConnect, marketing automation, Cortex, and so on and so forth. So they would be expecting a lot of like a significant fall into the Sitecore licensing and so on and so forth. So if you and your client is currently, if you think that you are ready to be migrated from monolith to architecture, have a round of discussion of your with your Sitecore sales rep and so on and so forth, and then figure out what is and how much you can save onto the Sitecore licensing cost as well. So what is the right way to go composable? I would like to refer this flow diagram which I created last year, which talks about if you are already on Sitecore XP, doesn't matter which hosting platform which you are using. If you are on Sitecore on premises, you are on IaaS, you are on private cloud, and so on and so forth. And even if you are new to Sitecore, uh, you have not even started building your Sitecore platforms and so on and so forth. So if I start from this red box where you are, if you are new to Sitecore and if you are looking for like a really lightweight headless DXP, then you can go for Sitecore Content Hub. If you are looking for a composable solution for a commerce, we have Sitecore Order Cloud and Sitecore Discover. If you are looking for Sitecore marketing automation, we have Sitecore Send. If you're looking for an AI-driven search, there is a Sitecore Search. If you're looking for a DAM solution, we are having Sitecore Content Hub. And last but not the least, if you're looking for a content strategy and analytics, that is the place we are having Sitecore Content Hub Operations. On the other hand, if you are below Sitecore 10 version, and if you are ready to go composable, then your first step would be scaling down from XP to XM, then upgrade your Sitecore version to Sitecore 10.x. The Sitecore 10.3 is the latest, which we will be talking in a bit. And then you can start your journey to go composable. And af after moving from Sitecore XP to Sitecore XM and having your version upgraded to Sitecore 10.x, that is the place where you can plan for your headless journey first, and then you can go for Sitecore XM Cloud. And that is the place where you can start thinking about if you are ready to start your personalization journey, and that is the place you can integrate Sitecore Personalize as your first composable DXP to your ecosystem. And then at when you think that your platform or your processes are matured enough, and then you are ready to adopt a customer data platform, that is the place where you are having that is the place where you can go and adopt the uh, site Sitecore customer data platform altogether. There's one thing to mention here. It is not mandatory for you to be on XM Cloud to have any of these platforms being integrated to your system. You can still be on Sitecore XP, and if you are looking to have Sitecore personalization being if you're having Sitecore personalized as a next-gen DXP to be integrated your Sitecore XP, that is still a possibility. So now the question is, why to go composable? Like we have talked so far in the previous slides, being on Sitecore XP, if you are not using all of the features and if you are still paying for those Azure hosting and the Sitecore licensing cost and so on and so forth, moving away from a monolith architecture and going to a composable, the very first benefit you will get out of is you will pay for what you are using. If you think that your client or your business is not mature enough to go for a personalization journey, you are not looking for features like marketing automation, you are having a separate platform for that. If you are not using analytics at all, you are having you are in your architecture as of today, you are having a different integration for that. You need not to have those platform part of your Sitecore ecosystem as all at all. You can plan to sunset those, and that is the place where scaling down from XP to XM will help. And when you are headless and when you are a composable platform, that is the place where you will pick and choose what is right for you at any stage of time. If you think that your processors are now matured enough to have start your Sitecore personalization journey, that is the place you can take Sitecore personalize into the account. If you are looking for any search related features and functionality, that is the place you can go and opt for Sitecore Search. If you are looking for e-commerce solutions, and that is the place you can go and have the Sitecore Order Cloud being integrated with your Sitecore ecosystem, which means that you can you can opt for a specific platform when you think you are ready. And the next thing is, it need not to be a Sitecore platform itself. If you are looking for a CDP solution, for an example, being on a composable platform, the main beauty is it, it it is not mandatory to have a Sitecore CDP being integrated with your architecture, but you can go in the market, you can find what is the best breed, which is like best suitable for your platform, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of other third party customer data platforms like Telium and Google and so on and so forth. So if you think that the Sitecore CDP is not a right fit for your platform, if the Sitecore personalized is not right fit for is not a right fit for your platform, and so on and so forth, you can go in the market, you can shop for a specific platform which is a right fit, and you can go for that. So if we talk in flavor of Johnson Controls, let's talk about what are our challenges right now, what were our mitigation plan earlier, and how we are planning now. As I mentioned that we are continuously migrating, and we are expecting like 350 website to be hosted on this platform. What we are looking as of today in financial year 2023 is a path toward a sustainable platform which would be capable enough to handle the load of 350 plus websites and so on and so forth, which should be lightning fast, um, scalable, and also future ready platform. Plus, more and more website which we would be onboarding on this platform, since those belongs to different business units and so on and so forth, there's going to be multiple content operations or the content authoring team which would be using our platform, and more site on the platform will add more complexity to the day-to-day content operations and so on and so forth. And then at the place when we are looking to enhance the website visitor experiences, as of today, since we are not using any of the site code personalization feature and so on and so forth, technically we are serving a static content to all of the website visitor for all those 45 plus website which we are currently live with. But in the future, we would be looking for sure for a better user experience, and that is the place where we would be looking for a 360-degree view or of a specific visitor or the set of the visitor who is coming to our uh, to our specific website very frequently. And then we would be looking for a uniform operational model where it is going to be multi-team. When we talk about such a huge platform or such a huge number of websites hosted on a platform, it's not a responsibility of single team in terms of the content operation, in terms of the digital marketing, in terms of even the feature development or AMS and so on and so forth. And that is the place we would be looking for like a one-to-one experience with the specific user who is coming to our website again and again, and making sure that we are providing them a way better experience than we used to provide like 2 years ago and so on and so forth. So like what 1.5 year before today, the way we were planning for, we had planned to stay on Azure Pass because by the time when Sitecore 10.0 was launched, there was a noise that Sitecore would be stopping the support for Azure Pass and so on and so forth. But later on with the version of Sitecore 10.1, 10.2 and so on and so forth, we had these Sitecore Pass like we had the Azure Pass support continues. So we had planned to stay on the Azure Pass, have our Sitecore environment upgraded to the 10.x version, whichever is supporting this, whichever is supporting the Azure Pass as a platform, and then scale up and out the platform so that it is capable enough to handle 350 plus website and so on and so forth. In the in At the same time, start looking for the features like Sitecore personalization, A/B testing, and so on and so forth, which is inbuilt with Sitecore XP. and then extend the use of Sitecore XDB part towards AI and Sitecore Cortex and so on and so forth, and continuously evolve. But now, since we have the next gen composable DXP available in the Sitecore platform or in the Sitecore ecosystem as of today, this is what we are planning for. As I mentioned, that our first step toward composable is going to be scaling down from a Sitecore XP to a Sitecore XMP. There are two possibilities to perform that. One is we can go with the greenfield, or second with is scaling down the existing environment itself. The both of the approaches have its own pros and cons. Like if we talk about a greenfield, which means we need to build Sitecore XM solutions or the platform from scratch, and then migrate our content and the code from a Sitecore XP to Sitecore XM, which is a possibility. But based on our analysis so far, that is going to be a bit expensive because if we are start building a new platform from scratch, we need to reconsider all of the third-party integrations. We have to reconsider our DNS. We have to reconsider our WAF, our CD, and our even a disaster recovery environment, which is currently into a different data center altogether. So going greenfield is going to be a bit expensive, but a bit cleaner approach because you would be starting the platform from scratch for Sitecore XM and so on and so forth. Rather, on the other hand, we can plan to scale down our current environments from Sitecore XP to Sitecore XM by shutting down all those databases, by shutting down all those web apps and so on and so forth, by shutting down all those additional solar indexes and so on and so forth. The tedious task on this is going to be since if you talk about CD and CM, it have its own set of files, a file system and so on and so forth, its own set of DLLs, its own set of configs and so on and so forth. There would be a set of a cleanup exercise required. So what we need to technically do is we need to compare a XP based CM with an XM based CM and an XP based CD to an XM based CD, so that we can remove all those unwanted files from an XP environment, especially for the CM and CD, for all of those additional DLLs, additional config files, or any of the additional files which comes with a vanilla Sitecore XP installation. That is going to be a bit tricky, but I think that is going to be a bit inexpensive. So we at Johnson Control would be probably going with that route rather than going with greenfield. Once we do that, we would be doing a Sitecore upgrade to Sitecore 10.x. As of today, it is Sitecore 10.3, but I believe in summer this year, Sitecore 10.4 would be out. So we would be probably looking at that. And that is the place we would be taking our first step toward composable. We would be adding Sitecore personalized to our ecosystem and start implementing those basic personalization scenarios on those websites which are already part of the platform. And that is the place we need to start thinking about going headless, because for sure to go composable, you must be on headless. So that is the place the things are getting a bit tricky. We are on Sitecore SXA. So first of all, I want to mention, and I believe most of us already know, that the Sitecore headless and composable are not equal to each other. You can be still on a headless platform and not being on composable. So once we are on Sitecore XM, we need to start rebuilding all those component libraries and the platform which is currently based on .NET MVC, and then that is the place where we need to choose uh, front-end framework, whether that is going to be React.js or Next.js and so on and so forth. And in the future, if we are planning to have migrated from a Sitecore XP to a XM Cloud, that is the place where we have only one choice as of today to go with Next.js, because XM Cloud only support Next.js as of today, though the Sitecore product team is working to have more possibility in the future to o- to open the gates for other languages than the Next.js and so on and so forth. But if we talk about current scenario, the time where we would be starting building our .NET MVC components to next gen or a headless platform, Next.js is the platform which we would be looking for. Now the next question is whether that going to be a big bang or incremental. If it is a s- single website based Sitecore environment where like we are having very uh, l- limited amount of pages and so on and so forth, in those type of scenarios we can still think to go with a big bang approach. But if we talk about a really complex architecture like us, 50 plus websites, and by the time when we would taking our first step toward headless, we would be possibly around 100 plus websites. So going with a big bang is not possible at all. So we need to start going with an incremental approach, and that is the place where we can think about going with platform like Vercel and so on and so forth, where we can pick and choose like those small or medium sized websites, start building those component, spin up a parallel environment on Vercel using Azure features like Azure Next Store and so on and so forth. So for a time being, we can run both the environments in a pilot mode. We would be still using the private cloud uh, hosted on .NET MVC, hosted on Azure PaaS, and so on and so forth, and slowly start migrating our .NET MVC based components to Next.js and have our hosting platform migrated from Azure to Vercel. And that is the place where we need to take a call whether we being on headless, we want to still be on a private cloud or we are ready to be on XM Cloud. Based on what I'm hearing as of today, I think XM Cloud as a platform need a little more sunshine to be production ready. There are a lot of MVP components which are missing from the platform. Like if you talk about Sitecore forms, there is no form functionality available on XM Cloud as of today. For sure, being on XM Cloud, you opens the gate to integrate third-party form solutions, something like Jot form and so on and so forth. But um, if we talk like in terms of Johnson Control, we are still thinking about whether to stay on private cloud or to migrate to XM Cloud. But by the time we would be completing our first to fourth step, we are tentatively talking about like 1.5 year and so on and so forth. So by that time, I believe the XM Cloud would be matured enough, and we will plan to have our Sitecore implementation migrated to XM Cloud. And that is the place where would be looking in the market for just 1 second. That is the place we would be looking in the market for the best breed solution for our CDP. We have Sitecore CDP for sure. We have Telium and we have other third-party CDP platforms as well. And that is why we would be continuously evolving and building the best breed out of the solution in the market to be part of our to be part of our architecture and so on and so forth. So last but not the least, let's talk about the all-in-one and the next-gen DXPs. In Sitecore Symposium last October at Chicago, Sitecore Chief Product Officer Dev O'Flanagan announced two platform offerings. First is the all-in-one, which we are very aware of, which is the Sitecore XP itself. Even though we are talking about Sitecore next-gen composable DXPs and so on and so forth, but that doesn't mean that Sitecore XP is dying. That would be still there. Uh, Sitecore 10.3 is launched and is currently available on the Sitecore platform, uh, which still gives an option to have our XP hosted on our specific private cloud, or if you want to go with things like Sitecore Managed Cloud and so on and so forth. On the other end, we are having next generation composable DXP. All these styles, I'm sure we all are familiar by now. All the blue tiles belongs to the Sitecore Content Cloud. The red one belongs to the Sitecore Engagement Cloud, and the light blue belongs to the Sitecore Commerce Cloud. Quick time check. This is my last slide, I promise. Um, the question is, if a client of if anyone thinks that they are still not ready to start their composable journey, they can still be on Sitecore XP. As I mentioned, Sitecore 10.3 is released, which is mainly focused to for a like a smooth integration from Sitecore XP to the Sitecore SaaS based solutions and designed to ease the path toward composability. There are a lots of improvements and the future and the features which are launched with which are launched on along with Sitecore 10.3. So by the time your platform would be migrated to Sitecore 10.3, you would be having like your path toward composability is going to be a bit more easier. So the last question on this talk is when it makes more sense to stay on XP, when it makes more sense to migrate to from a monolith to composable, and when it make more sense to supplement it with other SaaS products and so on and so forth. These are the three main scenarios which Dave talked about. The first is you stay on XP if you are a new Sitecore customer on Sitecore 10.x version, let's suppose 10.2 and 10.3, and you are having sufficient mainstream support in your hand, like 2 to 3 years and so on and so forth. So you can still be on Sitecore XP, keep on using that platform, and maybe 1 to 2 year down the line, you can start thinking about your composable journey and so on and so forth. If you are a client, kind of a customer who is using Sitecore XP end to end, all of the features and functionality, and you do not have any plans to move out of all those features, you can still be on Sitecore XP. And there are organizations which have like strict restrictions to be on premises. They do not have any plans to be migrated to even cloud. Forget about XM Cloud and so on and so forth. They can still be on Sitecore XP, have that hosted on their on premises ecosystem and so on and so forth. Migrate to Sitecore 10.3 and still be on XP. On the other hand, you can still stay on XP, but start exploring the next gen composable platform like Sitecore Personalize and CDP and so on and so forth, because there is no mandate for you to start using Sitecore Personalize, Sitecore CDP, Sitecore Search, or any of the Sitecore next gen composable. If you are on Sitecore XP, you can still be on XP and have these have these next gen platform being integrated with your XP platform end to end. The third scenario is if you think that you are composable ready, follow all of the steps which I talked in my on my previous slide. Migrate from a Sitecore XM to Sitecore XM Cloud, and then start adding platforms like Sitecore Personalize, Sitecore CDP, and so on and so forth. That is my next slide. I'm open for questions. Thanks for your time and patience. So I see one question from Rinku. Will component level personalization still work? We have to go with Sitecore personalized route also to move to DXP. Do we away? So do we always need to leave CD and experience as to deliver the data? So component level personalization, for sure, that is an inbuilt feature of Sitecore Personalize, which is known as experiences into Sitecore Personalize. If you are uh, on a composable platform already, that will make the integration a bit easier. But if you are on Sitecore XP and planning to integrate Sitecore Personalize, I believe there are certain set of customization which you need to do to have the specific script which will be provided by Sitecore Personalize to have that integrated with your Sitecore XP level components. But if you are already on headless, or if you are already on XM Cloud, that is going to be way more simpler to use Sitecore Personalize to have a component level personalization being implemented on your website. And the second question is also to move from to DXP, do we always need to leave CD and experience edge to deliver the data? I'm not following that question, Rinku. Can you?
Hi, Rinku here.
Sure.
So here, what I mean is like, let's say we are going within DXP approach where everything is decomposed, right? So here, can we realize the CD server, or do we need to get rid of that CDs and we'll focus on experience age to provide the data from the CM?
I think so. That will make more sense because like if you are going headless and if you're going toward a composable platform like Sitecore XM Cloud and so on and so forth, right? I don't believe you will ever need the the Sitecore CM or the Sitecore CD part of your ecosystem going forward, and you would be migrating from all those CD servers or CD web apps to the Experience Edge platform.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions from anyone?
Hi, Amitabh. I have one question. So, like difficult to move any existing project that is running in 8.2 in Composable DXP?
That's a very good question. So 8.2 is going to be a bit older platform, and if you are not on Sitecore SXA, it is going to be a bit easier. Uh, so in both of the scenarios, what you need to do is you would be rewriting your component. I believe if you're on Sitecore 8.2, you would be using Sitecore.NET MVC. You need to have that component being migrated or technically rewritten from Sitecore.NET MVC to React.js or Next.js or whatever front end framework you want to use. Now the things become tricky when it comes to um, uh, when we talk about things like Helix and Habitat and Sitecore SXA and so on and so forth. That is the place where it will all depend what is the level of customization which you have done on Helix and Habitat, what is the level of customization which you have done on SXA. Um, that will make the things a bit complex. But if you are not on that, if you are simply on Sitecore 8.2 or whatever version you are on, I believe the path is going to be way more easier than if you talk about someone like us who is on Sitecore SXA and so on and so forth, and is strictly following Helix principles.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned that before moving to DXP, you downgrade from XP to XM. Is it recommended by Sitecore? It is recommended by Sitecore, and like if you, because see, that will make your path a bit easier, right? Rather than um because going from monolith to composable, it's not going to be a step, it's going to be a journey, because based on how big your project is, how many website you are hosting right now, how many components you need to rebuild and so on and so forth. It is like very small scale application or small scale project, then you can plan to have that migrated directly from XP to XM Cloud, because there is just handful amount of component which you need to rewrite and so on and so forth. But if we talk about like an enterprise level applications like us, then it will make more sense to go like baby steps. So that is the place where first, if you have decided that you are migrating from XP, then it make more sense to downgrade from XP to XM today, so that you can start saving all those dollars which you are paying, which you are not using at all. You know. Any more questions?
One question. Like, currently at the component level personalization, we can do personalized thing based on that component. But now, if we go through that Sitecore personalized, so there is personalized based on the page level. So in that case, that means we'll have so many variant of one particular page based on the different component requirement.
Yeah, the concept of personalization is being changed between site code personalization and site code personalized, because all this based on the different type of experiences which you would be creating on site code personalized as a platform and so on and so forth. And based on couple of demo which I have seen, I believe there is a possibility to have the component level personalization. I might be wrong, but because I I've not get a chance to make my hands dirty so far on personalization, but the concepts are being changed when you are using Sitecore personalization as a platform, because everything is going to be an experience driven, and that is the place where like especially if you are on Sitecore SXA, you can have all those different type of rendering variants created for for a specific component, and you should be able to have those components change based on the personalization rule or the experience rules which you would be creating on Sitecore personalize. I might be wrong, but that's what my understanding is.
Okay. I guess we don't have any more question. If anybody has any questions, so please come up.
If anybody have any questions, so like they can also reach out to Amitabh on Slack. He's available over there, and on the Twitter or LinkedIn, you can also ask directly reach out to him. So I think this is time to like wrap up this session. Thank you so much, Amitabh, for sharing this great information with you and to show the architecture that you are following, and that will help us to like learn more about the composable one and how we can like migrate our solution to the composable DXP.
Pleasure all mine, guys. Thank you so much for using your time
Thanks,
in the
Amitabh.
mornings. I'm sure you guys would be having client calls and so on and so forth. So thank you for joining my session. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out on Slack.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amitabh.